The cameras captured everything, but nobody understood what they were really seeing until it was too late. What started as a routine father-son moment on the golf course suddenly transformed into something that had both. Tiger and Charlie Woods walking in opposite directions, their body language tense, the atmosphere thick with an emotion that nobody in the gallery could quite identify. Within minutes, social media exploded with speculation, theories, and wild claims about what had just happened between the legendary golfer and his teenage son. Some people claimed they'd had a massive argument visible to everyone. Others insisted Charlie had stormed off after Tiger criticized his play. Golf commentators scrambled to make sense of the confusing footage that showed Tiger standing alone on the fairway looking stunned while Charlie was already halfway to the next tee without looking back. The tension was so palpable that tournament officials actually paused to check if everything was okay. And the awkward silence from both father and son only fueled more speculation. But here's what nobody realized at that moment. What the cameras couldn't capture. What even the people standing closest to Tiger and Charlie completely misunderstood. What actually happened between them had nothing to do with conflict or anger or disappointment. The truth behind that shocking moment is so unexpected, so emotionally powerful, and so revealing about their relationship that when the full story finally emerged days later, it left the entire golf world stunned for completely different reasons than anyone imagined. This isn't a story about a fight or a breakdown in their relationship. This is the story of a moment so profound, so emotionally overwhelming for both Tiger and Charlie, that neither of them could maintain their composure. And the way they each dealt with that. The overwhelming emotion created a scene that looked like disaster, but was actually something beautiful. What really happened between Tiger and Charlie Woods will stun you, change how you see their relationship, and remind you why sports moments sometimes transcend competition and become something much more meaningful. If you want to know the real story that nobody saw coming and understand what actually happened in that jaw-dropping moment, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications, because this truth is more powerful than any rumor. The PNC Championship has always been special for the Woods family. It's the one tournament where Tiger gets to compete alongside his son in a relaxed but competitive environment, creating memories while sharing the stage that Tiger has dominated for decades. The atmosphere is typically joyful, celebratory, stark contrast to the intense pressure of regular professional tournaments. Fans come to see legends playing with their children, enjoying golf without the crushing weight of major championship expectations. For Tiger and Charlie, these tournaments have become treasured. Opportunities to bond through the sport that defines their family, while giving the world glimpses of their relationship. Dynamic, the round started normally that Sunday morning. Tiger and Charlie went through their usual warm-up routine, hitting balls on the range side by side, going through the same pre-round preparations that have become familiar to anyone following their tournament appearances together. They were loose, laughing, clearly comfortable with each other, and ready for another day of competitive golf. Nothing about their demeanor suggested that in just a few hours, they would be involved in a moment that would dominate golf media coverage and spawn countless theories about problems in their relationship. The front nine was solid but unremarkable. They made a few birdies, avoided any major mistakes, and stayed competitive on the leaderboard without putting any real pressure on the tournament leaders. Tiger played the kind of steady percentage golf that has always been his trademark when the situation doesn't demand heroics. Charlie was playing well too, showing the smooth swing and mature course management that has become his signature, making smart decisions and executing shots with the confidence of someone who belongs on competitive stages despite his young age. But on the 10th hole, something shifted. Charlie hit his approach shot to about 20 feet. A solid effort that left him with a realistic birdie opportunity, but nothing extraordinary. Tiger hit his approach even closer, maybe 12 feet from the pin. And the conventional expectation was that they'd both have chances to make birdie and continue building their score. Charlie putted first, and his ball tracked toward the hole on a perfect line before catching the edge of the cup and spinning out, leaving him with a tap and par. What happened next is where observers started noticing something unusual. After Charlie's putt missed, Tiger didn't immediately line up his own birdie attempt like he normally would. Instead, he stood over his ball for an unusually long time, longer than his typical pre-putt routine would require. Those watching closely noticed that Tiger seemed to be taking several deep breaths, that his hands were gripping and re-gripping his putter, that something was clearly affecting his usual composed demeanor. When Tiger finally struck his putt, it never had a chance. He pushed it right from the moment it left his putter face, and the ball slid by the hole without even touching the cup. It was a shocking miss for someone of Tiger's caliber, the kind of putt he's made thousands of times throughout his career. And the gallery responded with that awkward silence that golf fans produce when they witness something unexpected and don't quite know how to react. But what happened after the missed putt is where this story really begins. Tiger didn't react the way people expected. He didn't show frustration or disappointment or the competitive anger that has fueled so many of his comebacks over the years. Instead, Tiger stood completely still over his putter for what felt like forever. His head down, his shoulders slightly hunched, and when he finally lifted his head, something about his expression looked different. Raw, vulnerable, emotional in a way that Tiger Woods rarely allows cameras to capture. Charlie noticed his father's unusual reaction immediately. He walked over to Tiger, probably intending to offer some encouragement or maybe just check that everything was okay. But before Charlie could say anything, Tiger did something that stopped his son in his tracks. Tiger reached out and put his hand on Charlie's shoulder, looked directly into his eyes, and said something that was brief but clearly meaningful based on Charlie's immediate reaction. The television cameras weren't positioned to pick up audio of the exchange, but multiple spectators standing close enough to hear later reported that Tiger said something along the lines of, "Thank you for being here with me. You have no idea what this means." The words themselves might not sound particularly dramatic, but the way Tiger delivered them, the emotion in his voice, the intensity of his gaze, the vulnerability in his expression created a moment so raw and honest that Charlie's own composure immediately began to crack. Charlie's reaction was instant and visible. His eyes got glassy, his jaw tightened like he was fighting to maintain control. And then he nodded quickly, turned away from his father, and started walking toward the next tee at a pace that was noticeably faster than normal. He didn't look back, didn't wait for Tiger, just walked with his head down and his body language suggesting he was fighting hard to keep his emotions in check. Tiger remained on the 10th green for several more seconds after Charlie walked away, standing alone with his head bowed, his hand covering his face for a moment in a gesture that looked like he was trying to compose himself. When he finally started walking toward the 11th tee, his pace was slow, almost reluctant, and he kept his head down, avoiding eye contact with spectators or cameras. This is the moment that the television broadcast captured and that social media exploded over. Tiger and Charlie walking in different directions at different speeds, neither looking at the other, both clearly overwhelmed by emotion, creating a scene that looked to uninformed observers like a fight or argument had just occurred. Commentators struggled to explain what they were seeing. The broadcast booth went quiet for an uncomfortable stretch as everyone tried to figure out how to discuss what appeared to be a private moment unfolding in public. Tournament. Officials actually radioed to check if there was a problem, if the Woods family needed a moment or wanted to withdraw from the tournament, but both Tiger and Charlie signaled that they were fine and wanted to continue playing. Even though neither of them looked particularly fine in that moment, by the time they reached the 11th tee, both had managed to regain some composure. Though anyone watching closely could see they were both still fighting to maintain control of their emotions, they didn't speak to each other on the tee box beyond the minimal communication required for the game. Charlie hit his drive first, a solid shot down the fairway, and then walked quickly toward his ball without the usual glance back at his father, or the small interactions that had characterized their round up to that point. Tiger hit his drive and the round continued, but the energy between them had clearly shifted. They played the next several holes in what looked like careful, deliberate focus on the golf itself, minimizing conversation, maintaining physical distance from each other that seemed unusual given their typical comfortable proximity during rounds.